You see that little guy right there? That's me. My name's Carl. And that scary guy that's holding me? That's Opa. Just like any other kid, I was scared of my grandpa, but got along great with my grandma. Enough about me. Let's get into the story. This one starts during World War I.
It was the First World War. He got drafted in 1914, he got out of that 18. He was in the bazooka shooting into Paris. You know, Opa went to America as a blind passenger. So he grabbed the back and he hit in the lifeboat. So he came back 1925 again. Oma didn't want to come to America. So he came back. And then he worked on the fishery. Yeah, he was in Bremerhaven, he had his own business. Building barrels, wine barrels. And then there was an opening in Elsfleth. There's a chief Hansu there with the herrings. They called the loggers in them days, the ships. They went to Greenland, and there was the only fishery in Germany in them days. The only herring that came to Elsfleth, he had 50 women there, 50, 55, 60 sometimes. They're packing the herrings in the barrels. You're not to throw them in, they had to pack them just like a sardine box. It was the charge of the whole damn thing.
Unfortunately, Opa didn't talk too much about his early childhood. However, he was born August 10th, 1929, in Bremerhaven, Germany. We're going to pick this story back up in 1943.
I was just 15, and I had to go and put barbed wire around the northern coast of Germany. We slept in a upstairs in a tavern, and there was a dance hall. They throw straw in that damn thing. And you sleep on straw with about 40 guys. You sit over a long telephone pole in a ditch. They hang over the ditch on the pole. On Sunday was Sunday food. There was horse beans. They got them big goddamn horse beans. That was like stew. That's the only time you had something to eat. The other time you had some soup there out of a big goddamn commode. There was no meat in it, no nothing in it. There was no food there. There was nothing to eat. And I got drafted. The Volksturm, they called Volksturm in them days. From the Hitlerjugend into the Volksturm. That was a part of the army for young people. So we got basic training for the bazooka. Then we went to Brakel. There was an island on the Brakel that was next door by Elsfleth. In the Weser. There's an island. There we got about 500 goddamn bicycles, big people bicycles, and you had to build your own bicycles. Then you put the bazookas on the contraptions on there. And that was your outfit. You had to build your own bicycles. So.
Let's recap. Opa had a pretty crazy childhood. He was given a bazooka and was forced into the Hitler Youth at age 15. He was born and raised in West Germany, but Oma, on the other hand, was in East Germany. Let's take a look at her story.
I was born 1936, and that was on the Baltic Sea. And when I was 3 years old, the Second World War started. And so far it was okay, because that was Russia, but later on when American came, that was in 42 in England, and then we had a problem. And later on, in 1944, my sister was born, and from my uncle, he had a son too, and that was almost the end of the war, and then he died on hunger typhoid. When the war was over in 45, we had to leave before, because I was born in one of, they called it Stettin, so we had to go further west, what was then later on East Germany. And luckily all the men were in the war. By that time I was 8.5 years old. There was absolutely hardly any school open because it was all bombed out. We went to the other city called Greifswald, and my grandfather had to take care of all the women then, you know, his daughter, my mother's sister, because we were afraid when, even though the city surrendered, that Russians, you know, there was lots of rape and everything. Anyhow, when we left, then we found out the city then surrendered, but Stettin was still occupied by Russian soldiers. But at that time, there was absolutely nobody there who would take care of us. We had to be on our own. We had to beg for food and for this. And when we came back to our town, what was a little bit outside of the city, that was bombed out from my grandparents, and from my other grandparents. They had a house that was occupied by Russian soldiers. I went with my grandmother and we begged for food, because by that time I was about close 8.5 years old, you know. And some Russians, soldiers, they felt sorry too for the kids, you know. So anyhow, there was a big shipyard, you know, and all the Russian soldiers, they were there, I don't know. And at one time, I had a little pot where I begged for food, you know. They didn't get much to eat either. Sometimes if I go on daytime, one gave me a little bit, the other Russian, they got just lunch or some, and then I had a little bit food. So I went with my grandmother, and she made her look older than she was too, you know. So then they didn't harm the kids and the old grandmothers. And finally then we found out a place where you could get something to eat, but you had to walk and walk, I remember that. And then they had those big, they call it goulash kanon, those big kettles. It was just water and some, you know. So one time, I don't know if they knew that I left or what, I took that little milk pot, you know, that ceramic pot, and I went over there where the Russians get maybe something to eat again at night too. And there was a big stage, a big hall, you know, and then I saw all those guys in German uniforms, but that was the Russians, soldiers, they played on stage something, you know. And then there was one soldier, one Russian, he goes like this. And then I was supposed to sit down, you know. And then he pointed over there where they had those big kettles and where they got the food for the Russian soldiers, you know. And then he took my pot and then he filled it up. And boy, did I walk home, so everybody had a little bit something to eat. by middle of the night, because actually there was lots of Germans. They had to stay then there, and the Poles took over and they didn't let them go out anymore either. They had to work for them then too, you know. So my grandfather, he said, we had to get out here. If we wait here longer, the Poles take over and they don't let us go out anymore. And that's when we went by. Middle of the night, we left everything again, what maybe we had. Just what you could carry, we went again. That's it. We had to go there where they put us, and tell you the truth, even the German people, they didn't like us. But I mean, that was the way it was. And that's where I went to school, and I was almost 8.5 years old. And they put me in first grade. Would you believe it? You know what, when I went then to school in East Germany, there was more refugees. They came from the east, further from the east than I came, you know. And the other ones who lived there, they didn't lose anything. They had everything. And then they were really mean, you know. And then my girlfriends, like I said, one is now in Cologne, the other one is in Berlin. And I'm still in touch, I call them and all that. We were in grammar school, but they were refugees too, like me. And me, maybe I exploded already at grammar school, you know. I had too much. She said something to my girlfriend from Berlin, I think, or the one from Cologne now. And I was looking for something to let them have it, you know, because they know how I'm explode. And then I said, what did you just tell her? You know, maybe in another word, why don't you move out and go where you come from, you know? Well, that was my way too, you know, if somebody would have said that to me. They knew better. So then I said, what did, oh, well, we didn't meet. I said, what? I gave her 2 slaps. She goes to the teacher, reports me. That I slapped her. My parents, we just had one room where my father slept with my mother, and I slept with my sister. You know, we had a bed here, a bed there, in the middle of the table. That's all what we had. And so I came home, and then they were mad at me because my father says, "You coming home once more with this bad behavior?" I didn't care. She deserved it all right. Like I said, they kept everything. They didn't have to go through anything. They were not bombed out. They didn't have air raids. Even if we were still at home in 1944, we had to go to the bunkers. The sirens went on. The first few years we went in the basement, but then the sirens went on. And then we knew that they are close, because that's when the Americans came in, you know. When I was done with grammar school, you go to business school for 3 years. You're a business school. You learn the trade. It's like a trade school. You learn it from scratch. So then I was done in 2.5 years. Actually, I was in bookkeeping, and I had about 20 stores from our city where I had to take the bookkeeping over from grocery stores.
In 1943, there's always alarm. There's always alarm. They see the Americans, or there were American planes. They've gone over to Bremen, bombed Bremen, and from Bremen they went a little further to Berlin. They flattened all that. Hamburg, they flattened that. And when we came, I had to go to school every morning on the train, 10 miles, to Brake. Boy, they came over the Garden Weser, you know, that river there.
Where you spit?
The railroad was right there, and and with the machine gun in the plane, just really, they shooting at our train. We had red cars on the train. They know that it was a school bus, a school train. So a couple of my buddies got killed there. But when we had an alarm even, the train stopped. We had to get down, and they get down on the other side of the goddamn. It was terrible. It was absolutely unreal. Terrible. 450, 45, 46,
Right.
47, there was no school. 3 years there was no school. But after the war, I had to go to the farmer and work at the farm. For 2 years, I worked on the farm. 4 houses. I had to milk 8 cows 3 times a day. Cut the hay, cut the wheat. With 4 houses in front of you. I was 16 years old. That was a pain in the ass. Her husband was in England as a prisoner. So I was the only helper. And the woman there was there. And she had a daughter. That's all. So I was with her, and we ran the whole goddamn farm.
Oh.
I had to go to another school and finish my bullshit, but I had English and I had Latin and all that crap. Latin, I was excellent in Latin because I had a professor. When I know somebody, I bought a book. And the professor taught you out of the book. And I had the same book. And I was the best in the class. Until he got transferred, and I got another goddamn son of a bitch.
Another teacher?
Yeah. And I didn't know a damn thing. I know nothing, because I just got out of the book.
Oh.
I had no interest in I'm not going to be a doctor, and I didn't want to be a pharmacist, and I don't want none of this crap. Not Latin. That was, English was bad enough. I like physics. I like. Yes, I wanted to be an electrician. I like to be an electrician. I wanted to work with my hands. I always liked that. Then I got out of school. I wanted to be an electrician. I couldn't find no job. So I finally opened the carpenter master. He had about 5, 6 guys working for him, building houses and all the crap, and we had doors and windows and all that shit. So I had learned a trade, like 3.5 years. I built coffin, I put the dead ones in the coffin.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that.
When they didn't fit, then the cover, we took a rope around it, and a stick with a rope, and they get that goddamn thing. And we didn't have no screws. We had to nail the damn thing down. Nail it. That's all about it. You break the neck, the beat.
The legs.
The legs. They fit in the damn thing.
That's when he's quit. He said he climbed in there and you have to break the legs.
Oh, that was bad. See, in them days, you don't have automobiles, no automobiles. The only thing you had is a cart, big wheels with a cart, like a cart. Mm-hmm. Big wheels on it, and put the coffins on there, and then drive it to the house. I never had to do the front, because they make funny noises when the air comes out when you pick them up. But I had to grab the legs, and my boss, Willem Schröder, you get Willem.
Oh.
Willem Schröder, his father, he was the boss. No, he was the front man, and so we whooped him in there, and they had to go over there and put the cover on that goddamn thing. Once, like that one guy, I never forget him. and we couldn't get. He blew up. He was a butcher master. He had a butcher shop in the city. Psycho, I think is the name. Oh, that was something else. So we built that thing up there, the clock thing,
Clock
and
tower.
and then we installed that mechanism. But I mean, see, in them days, you don't have no crane, and you don't have. That's a job to drag that damn thing, son of a bitch, up there. She worked in the bank, and so she got me a job because there was no jobs to be got. They got nothing. There was nothing there. 2 or 3 weeks in the bank, that was enough for me. I don't sit on the same damn desk, the same damn old people. I can't take that. That's not for me. And the cigarette was $5, 5 marks. And I earned 30 marks a month. You gotta figure that one out. And that for 3 years, 3.5 years. She was here by my father's brother. He was here in Chicago, Uncle Heine. Yeah, I seen him one time, and he said I would never make it, and I do yeah. So I had no use for him either. I was on my own. I left in Bremerhaven and got here on the 1st of December.
What was the name of the boat?
America on Bremerhaven. That was a lot of money. You couldn't. They had only a few ships in them days. I stayed one night with Uncle Johnny, and then I took the train. I went to Chicago. Oh yeah. I lived with Lee for 2 months. 2.5 months, or something like that. Then she moved out and got married with Jean, Uncle Jean. On a Saturday, Lee made a phone calls. 10, 12, 20 phone calls for looking for a job. Don't forget now, that was the 1st of December.
Right.
There was the snow was this high, and looking for a carpenter's job. That's pretty stupid. Just before Christmas, right? What the hell's going on? So they finally, but I needed a job close by, and looking at his telephone book, he found Lash, economy. A contractor. That was a Saturday. And he says, all right, he gotta be union, otherwise we cannot hire him. You know, you have to be union, otherwise you wouldn't get a job in them days. All right. Now then we found out, then we got on the phone, then she got on the phone because I didn't know how to talk yet. I don't really know what the hell they're doing. I don't know what's going on. There was a union meeting on that Monday. It was Saturday. I got home. I got early in the morning. I got here. On Saturday, he talked to Les. I got a job. And Les told him that I'm no good. He gets fired at once. All right. Okay, that's good. So, but he had got to be union. So I had to go Monday first, and at night I had to go to the meeting. And they told me $225 initial fee. That was a hell of a lot of money in 1952, I tell you. The next day, Wednesday, I think I started a job in Lash. I had to go. So that's what I had to do. I had to join the guy. They needed a guy, card player, Scott. You need 3 guys to play that. And eat Limburger, black bread, Limburger, and a big slice of goddamn onion on there. Oh yeah, mamma mia. But I did it. I had to go to work at 3:30 in the morning. 3:30 in the morning with my toolbox. That's a German hammer. They made it especially for me. But that's a German hammer because you put that, when you don't use it anymore, you don't have no place to put it, then you stick it in someplace. I don't know. Yeah, that's the way it's built. He gave me $20 and a carton of cigarettes, 2.5 weeks later. He was so happy with me. I worked like a goddamn mother all again. A few years later, then I had to get, I kept on going. We worked, and then I got drafted in the Army.
But you were not a citizen yet.
No, I had to wait five years. You have to work 5 years to become a citizen.
Otherwise, you don't get. You can still be drafted and you go, but you don't get no leave.
No.
You don't get the same pay.
No, you don't have the rights. They put you in the front line. You get front line and get cut, killed, and the ass had it then.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I told him I want the same rights, or make a citizen, or hell with it. I take my suitcase. I told them, but the FBI, they told me. I told them, they can kiss my ass. I take my suitcase and go home again. Period. Fatty. That's it. But anyhow, I finally made my citizenship. Oh, I was first to Fort Leonard, Missouri. Oh, what a rotten hole that place is. I was there, then they qualify you. Then they ask you every day in the morning or in the afternoon for a whole week. If you like a brown car, or a red car, or a black car, or a white car, what kind of your car? Always the same thing. And all that stupid question. They qualify you. You go here, you go there, to different places. Army judge. So they put me in to tank battalion, to Fort Hood, Texas. Put you on the train, and then you were in Texas. I like Texas, yeah, but 4 weeks. You got 8 weeks basic training, but advanced training. I was 30 years old. I was grandpa of the whole goddamn outfit. I'm ROTC goddamn punk out of a high school. You know, one of those jackoffs tell me how to shave, or you don't even have to shave that son of a bitch. He was 18, 19 years old. He's lieutenant. They kiss my, I just grin him, you know, they stand you so far from the nose, scream at you. You're nuts. I had a rifle, they give you an old rifle, then they inspect the rifle, then they tell you the rifle is dirty. They're looking through that goddamn thing, rifle is dirty. So we went to Temple. Temple was a town right in front of the barracks in Fort Hood. I go to town, I want a woman there. I need a woman, god damn it. What's going on here? I couldn't find it. There was nothing available. The one that side. So I went across the street. There was a gin mill there, and there were a lot of women there. Oh man, a lot of them. So I had a woman, I found a woman. So we going to the motel or the hotel or whatever the hell I wanted to go. So, and she was in a taxi, and I was ready to step in, and son of a bitch, MP got me. Military police. I had to go to the barracks, had a report there and all that bullshit with the papers. I got court-martialed for hard labor. All right, what is that? I don't know. I don't know. I'm standing there. I don't know. No, he said, you remodel the kitchen, and when you finish with the kitchen, you go in the library, and yeah. That was the best thing ever happened to me. See, when you're in the Army, you have to have kitchen duties. You got milk, you got to put milk cans or peeled potatoes, or you just wash dishes, because they got 4 garbage cans. These are cans. This is paper, this is edibles, and some other junk. And you're all supposed to separate all it, boys from the girls. And I watched the garbage man come. He saw all the goddamn shit in the same goddamn, the same thing in the same machine. It's stupid. I mean, they tell you, you have nothing to say. We do the thinking for you. No, they do the thinking for me, all right. So, but anyhow, now when I got hard labor, no more kitchen duty. They couldn't get me for nothing. No more shithouse cleaning. You had to clean the shithouse with a goddamn quarter. Scrape the shit out of the side. That was unreal. Every night they wake you up at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. You gotta take your mattress. You gotta take your mattress and hump around the goddamn big bears there at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh man, that was something else. I didn't go shooting. I didn't shoot. I never shot. But I got a sharpshooting medal. Oh yeah, even my book. I got a sharpshooter. I got drafted on the 29th of October. All right, it was in November, they say, and in March, everything was over with. So we had to go to Korea, get an order, got caught. So we took a train to Seattle. Then we got in Seattle, I got another order, Germany. I had to go with a train from Seattle to New York. Then I called my father, my mother, that I was coming for that on that ship. By that time I knew what ship it was. We are in the 5th floor downstairs, a couple of battalions. Upstairs there were families and kids. And everybody got a job. Shit house cleaning, in the kitchen clean. There's a lot of goddamn shitty jobs there. But anyhow, I was lucky, I was in the bakery. So I was in the bakery and someone burned bread out of the big chute. There was a big chute, and they were burning more bread than the bacon. Or cakes and all that shit, whatever the hell they did. I had to just shovel it out. So that was not too bad. But when you get down in the sleeping quarters, you sleep with 4 people over each other. Down in the basement. It stunk. Oh man, that was bad. It was bad. That was bad. So, but anyhow, that takes about 14 days. And then we got to Bremerhaven. And I had time enough to look over the side of the ship, transporter. My mother and father were standing down there on the pier. They let him in there. And the train was sitting right next to it. So I want to go down there, didn't want to let me go. So I had to go to the priest. And army, they're pretty, they got something to say in the army. So he gave me the permission, I could go downstairs. So I seen them. I had cigarettes in I had a big coat on them. I had coffee, some cigarettes. Almost stuck it in there. They were not supposed to have that, You're not supposed to take it out. But anyhow, everything was fine. And then we went to, still don't know what town we went to. And then finally we wound up in Ulm. There was 3 units in Ulm. American units, battalions, 3 battalions, in 3 different places in Ulm. We went to to the Adelsberg. To me, it was the best place there is. But anyhow, they called me, there was a battalion here, the whole battalion is standing there. Battalion is about 650 people, 250 guys. They called me first. Battalion commander, jeep driver. Oh shit, I thought, that's a hell of a nice job I get. Everybody getting the job, you know. After 3 weeks, I tell you, I had it up to here. I had to be there at 6 o'clock, pick him up. At night, I gotta bring him home. I drive him to the city. I drive him. I full maintenance on this goofy Jeep. I gotta wash his Jeep. I couldn't. I have to translate things. If I don't have to translate, I had to open up the hood and act like I'd clean it. I had to look busy. You know how that is. Just like you're working now, you gotta look busy. No, I called in sick. I had enough of that. So they found another German guy who was a citizen and could speak English and German. If somebody wants something built, if I do something for you, then you do something for me. That's the way it went in the army. Then I built for another place in the same town. I built a football field, that reviewing stand, with a big garden, all out of wooden nails. Oh yeah, that was pretty. I had fun. Then we went on a maneuver. I had to go 4 times on a maneuver. And the time I was there. In summer, in winter, in spring, and the summer we again. And I got a big 5-ton big truck. That was my job. Buy the beer. Sell the beer for 10 cents a bottle, bring the beer back to the brewery, sell it up again on ice at night for 5 o'clock, from 5 to 9, I have to sell the beer. That was my job on the maneuver. No, I never shot. I think, personally, I had a nice time in the army. Had my accordion with me. Germany, when I got in the barracks there, right away I got a car. I sold my car. I had an apartment here with all my shit. I gave it all away. What are you going to do with it, damn stuff?
When I was done, luckily I had my grandmother in West Germany. She was in Hamburg, and that was from my father's side. And we found out that they were not around anymore. he was always on one of those freighters. And somebody said the ship went under, so we thought maybe they were gone. We found out, my father found out too, through somebody else, we were still in East Germany, that his parents are still alive. They saw the boat. The boat was, the name was Ruth, R-U-T-H, the name, you know. They said, we saw the chimney in Hamburg. The ship is in Hamburg. They're living on the ship there. And they thought the ship was gone down. My father came home in '44, and he lost a leg in Leningrad. That was in the war, in Leningrad, you know, close by, on the Russian front. But luckily, if he wouldn't have lost the leg in '44, he never would have made it home in '45.
Because he would have been sent
That
back.
was almost the last ship that went out on the Baltic Sea, what we called Ostsee, von Leningrad up there. I had about enough. I was working then about close to a year. By that time I was 19, going on 20. And since I had relatives in West Germany, like my grandmother in Hamburg, and her sister was close by Munich. And they never had any kids, and since I went to her, what was outside of Munich, and I stayed with her 3-4 weeks, and then I took, because in Munich all the actors and film stars and everybody, you know, they lived in that little town. They call it Starnberg, and there was a big lake. That was where King Ludwig drowned too, in that lake.
In the south.
It's Starnberg, yeah. Mm-hmm. That was outside of Munich. And then I thought, before I liked little kids too and everything, and then I thought, everybody wanted girls for taking care of the children, you know. So then I did this. I was there maybe about a year, and that was too much. And then I went to somebody, it was Dr. Eckert, and then I watched his 2 children.
You liked that family?
And
That's the one you really liked?
That because Dr. Eckert's wife, she came from Ostpreußen too. She had to go through the whole routine too. And her parents, they were then in West Germany also. And so she knew what I went through, and they acted like I belonged to them somehow, you know. So they had a little one from 8 months, 7, 8 months, and another one from 2 some years. And so I stayed there, and they took me along when they had to go on a trip or something. And then later on, I was there about 3 years, and I'm going on, was I 23? One day I went to the movies.
I was going to Garmisch, you know where Garmisch is? You gotta go Munich and Starnberg, and there was she working there. I guess she wanted to go to the movie, I don't know where the hell it is.
And some car was behind me, and they slowed down, and I ran fast because on the car was a USA sign. And I thought, I don't speak no English, you know. So what am I supposed to? But that's whoever. So then the window got down. He had an Opel Kapitän at that time.
I asked for directions.
And he asked for directions. And then I said, for an American, you speak pretty good German. And then he says, okay, he says, I am German, I'm from Bremerhaven.
I guess we exchanged telephone numbers or whatever they had.
So I didn't go to the movies. He didn't go to Garmisch, maybe later on. But we were on the Starnberger See. We were sitting there, had a beer or whatever. And that's when I met Karl.
And then I wound up with her.
and he asked, he said, okay, maybe if we could meet again, or, and I said, all right. So, and then that's when it started. So he paid the guys off in his group there, so they stayed put the weekend, so he could take a weekend off,
He paid the other guys to cover him so he could come see you.
Yeah, because, there was 7 or 8 people in, and you cannot get everybody out of the barracks there for a weekend, because then the other ones have to stay. And we met almost every weekend. Then he had brought some papers, and he says, well, you have to fill this out. And I said, for what? That was all in English. I don't know anything. He says, maybe that was his proposal. He says, if you wanna get married, you have to fill this out. In Germany, they have a place too where you could get married with your papers and everything. You needed 2 witnesses too and everything. And then we wanted to get married on a Wednesday because it happened to be Thanksgiving on the 26th of November that year, And then City Hall, or that place where it was closed. So on Wednesday.
I remember.
So we had to do it on Thanksgiving Day. There was 2 German guys too. They were drafted, at least I could talk to them. And the one was driving us. And when we got to City Hall, when we got out of the car, I got the pictures and everything. There was the whole gang from his outfit. Everybody had the uniform on. You had that one on too. And they were saluting, and we went to the office there, up in the building. And so then we went there, and then we got married, and then Carl made arrangements, and then we had a nice little restaurant, and then we had the whole outfit, even the colonel and the things, and with their wives, and then some soldiers had German girlfriends too, and then we came all together. That was our wedding. No relatives. And then the next day or 2 days after that, we went to my parents in Lübeck. So they had never met Carl before either. So Carl walks in, just like they know each other already for 10 years. Same language, same accent, And then we picked my parents up. I still got the pictures. And then we went to Carl's parents, and my sister went along too, and then we went to Elsfleth. And Carl and his dad and my father and Carl's dad, they were smoking, just like everybody knew each other already. No problem. That was our wedding. In February, I didn't feel good. I found out I was pregnant. And I said, oh my God, I gotta go to America. They don't let you out, the army doesn't let you out after 7 months pregnancy because they think maybe something goes on the plane or what. You had to more or less out. And we had sent the papers in already long time. But that we didn't hear from anybody. So anyhow, when I found out I was pregnant, I said to Dad, I said, I gotta come over here. I said, I don't even speak English. And I thought, you know what you're doing. He says, well, it needs two to tango, you know. Was here by Carl's sister. Luckily, he had a sister, Auntie Lee, remember?
Yep.
And by the 7th month, then I got my papers together, and then Opa drove me. That was something else too. He didn't even go all the way to the airport to Frankfurt with me. He put me on a bus, and I took the bus, and I went to Frankfurt, and I found the airport. I mean, I was 7 months pregnant. Now you figure that out. But anyhow, the problem is where I learned English or conversation is because all his workers were American people. He did not belong to German clubs, he did not belong there, he didn't want no part of that, and I was perfectly all right with everybody. And they had little kids too, and they visit me on Damon Avenue, and with hand and feet, maybe we tried talking to each other, so I don't know. I did not have one lesson of English, I did not have nothing. I just learned it, because Bruce was a baby, I had to stay home. Where am I supposed to go? Right? To learn English, to school or something. So I just picked it up. TV and people who talked to me a little at a time, and that was it.
We just arrived here at beautiful Holland, and we're having a good time. The weather's about 65 degrees, and I think how are you enjoying the trip so far, Sandy?
Oh, it's just terrific.
And Sandy's enjoying herself, and there's not a cloud in the sky, and I think it's gonna really be a dynamite day.
on.
The other way. Don't cover car.
Hey, you looking nice in there.
Yeah.
Hey, look, come on there. Hey, I just want to say happy birthday.
Okay.
Und wenn Oma sagt, Opa ist goofy, but that's okay. At least Opa thought about you.
Okay.
Opa thought about you, okay?
You want a fork?
No, this is really, this is,
She called me the soup.
open your arms.
Wow.
This one, I think,
Chris, that's really diamonds. Wow.
Opa thought about you.
Happy birthday, Opa.
And there it is, the story of Oma and Opa. I hope what you take from their story is that you don't have to be a product of your environment. You work hard so you can play hard, and most importantly, make time for those you love.
So what would you say to them?
To
Yeah.
to your little kids when you have kids. Well, then I would say now listen at your parents and don't be greedy and be nice to each other.
That's all that matters.
Now you know when I sometimes explode.
That's why.
When I went through that and some other knucklehead wants to tell me this and that, you know.
That's why you explode.
Then I said, hey, just like somebody asked me, how do you spell? I said, what do you mean, how do I spell that? You went till 18 years to school and you don't know how to spell? What's the matter with you?
I was on 63rd Street. That was my second job in America. That was in December. Colder than the bitch. That was in the Sears Hotel. We worked. There was a White Castle right across the street, and they looked gray. So they said, give me one. And the other one said, give me 6. The other one was 8. The other one was 10. I thought, you know, nuts or some goddamn thing. You know, but see, I don't even know nothing. I couldn't even speak any English. They laughing like a son of a bitch. Me, they got fun with those goddamn things. There's lots of birds flying there.
Seagulls.
Seagulls.
And they put that plate right in front of him, and he grabbed his fork and his knife, and he's ready to cut, and then that bird shit right on the schnitzel.
Right on the schnitzel.